Hi everyone! So it's been about 6 weeks since I last updated, and I wanted to do a little update today on how the pregnancy is going and what plans we have for delivery. I have a little notebook here with notes so I don't forget what I want to tell you in the video, so please don't mind me if I look down and look at the notes. I just want to make sure I remember everything. First of all, I will address or talk a little about how I've been feeling the last 6 weeks. It's been pretty normal, nothing too hectic. It's really hot here in Arizona, so the biggest thing has been the heat bothering me, and as I get bigger, the weight becomes even more harder with the heat. But I'm usually home, so it's not a problem. It's just when I go to drop off the kids or when I go to pick them up, and sometimes we go out with the family on the weekends, so that's when it becomes a little bit difficult to handle. Other than that, towards the last week or two, I've been getting really heavy, so I've had a lot of pelvic pressure and pain. A lot of my lower back is hurting and my hips. But that's pretty normal for this stage. It's pretty expected for me too. I've had this problem with all of my last 4 kids. But other than that, I've been feeling good. I do have a little bit of nausea the last 2 days. I'm not sure if that's a sign of impending labor and I just haven't gone into labor yet. But I normally don't go into labor on my own. I'm usually induced after 40 weeks, so I don't expect labor to come at any moment since that's not my history. I addressed my diagnosis of gestational diabetes last video. If you guys want, go check that out, but I'm under careful monitoring by a high-risk doctor and a midwife who regularly checks my numbers. I have to take the blood test 4 times a day. I have that more in detail in the previous video if you want to go check it out. My numbers have been good. She did up my insulin to 22 units at nights only still, since my problem is usually my fasting number. And it's been keeping it at a good level. And I also made a couple of adjustments to my nighttime snack, which includes only protein snack. And because of that, my numbers have been pretty steady and normal and good. For the morning, it's at the target she wants it to be, so I've been at 22 units for the past 3 weeks. So every 2 weeks, the baby is measured during my BPP scan, which is the biophysical profile. The biophysical profile is done every Monday, and they check to make sure that the baby is doing good, that there's enough fluid around her, that she's moving normal, and every 2 weeks they also check the weight to make sure she's not growing too big because of the gestational diabetes. Babies who are born to gestational diabetic moms tend to be on the bigger side because they store fat from the insulin that they release. But as long as you keep it under control, everything is okay. The baby is measuring a little bigger than average. She is in the 66th percentile overall, but her belly is in the 89th percentile. So she is storing some of the fat in her belly. Even though I've been keeping it good with the diet, my numbers have been good. The midwife told me they're not too concerned, she's still doing okay, because overall she's still 67th percentile or 66th percentile. When I first started this, her first measurement she was 67th percentile, her second one was 69th, and then this last one was 66th. So the numbers have been helping her kind of stay at a steady measurement and not get too big. Her belly has been in the 89th percentile the whole time, so that hasn't changed either. The last time they measured her, she was 7 pounds and 8 ounces, I believe. Yes, She was 7 pounds 8 ounces, and that was a week ago. And if she stays on track with half a pound a week, which is an average of what the babies grow at this stage, she'll be about 8.5 pounds when she's born. So she's not too big. She's close to average. Average, I believe, is 7.5 pounds. They didn't tell me how tall she is, so I'm not sure how tall she is, but considering she's 67th percent or 66th percentile, I'm sure she's on the average for her height too. Overall, she's doing really good. The fluids measured perfect. She's moving perfectly. Everything looks great with her. She's in the head down position. She's ready to go. So we're just basically waiting at this point, as long as we could wait, to give my body the chance to go into labor naturally before we try an induction. Up until last week, we did not have a birth plan in place or a delivery plan with the doctor. And 2 weeks ago at my appointment, the doctor mentioned that she would like to schedule a C-section at my last appointment if my cervix was not favorable, because she does not want to take any chances with uterine rupture and all that other stuff. Even though I've been induced many other times, they're concerned still because they cannot use the same amount of medication that they used with my previous pregnancies to bring on labor. So it's a little bit more complicated when you've had a C-section, and the risk of uterine rupture is about 3 to 5% versus less than 1% if you went into labor naturally. They absolutely told me they cannot use any kind of artificial prostaglandins, which would be like Cervidil or Cytotec or any of those cervix softening drugs. They could only give me Pitocin, and she said they would have to start on a very low dose and go up very slowly to make sure that there's no problems, and they're hoping that my body will go into labor naturally, or not naturally, but with a very minimal amount of medication. I spoke to the midwife about this, and she decided to ask the high-risk doctor to write a recommendation for me to get induced at 39.5, well, towards the very end. By 40 weeks, they wanted the baby delivered. The OB the week before at my 37-week visit said that she would schedule me for a C-section at 41 weeks if I was not favorable by 38-week appointment. When I mentioned that to the midwife, she did not want that. They don't want me to go past 40 weeks because of the gestational diabetes. So she had the high-risk doctor write a recommendation to induce me by 40 weeks. So at my 38-week scan, I saw the nurse practitioner, not my OB, because she wasn't there that day, and the nurse practitioner said that they are going to go ahead and schedule an induction for me. So as of right now, I'm scheduled for an induction on Monday, August 28th at 4:30 a.m. They're going to start me slowly on Pitocin. They're hoping that a very small dose of it will just trigger my body into labor, and they don't have to increase it too much. They could only go so far before we have to consider it basically unsuccessful and go ahead with the C-section. So I'm really hoping that the small dose of Pitocin will help. I have been doing things at home to naturally induce. Starting at 34 weeks, I started on evening primrose oil. I take 2 1,000 milligram tablets every night. I've inserted it a couple of times too, but I don't think it's working. At 36 weeks, I was 1 centimeter dilated, and she said that I was still very thick. And when I had them check me again at 38 weeks, it was the same thing, so it hasn't been helping. Other than evening primrose oil, I've been drinking red raspberry leaf tea like 2 to 3 times a day, and I make sure to let it seep the full 15 to 20 minutes in hot water to get the full effect of it, and I also drink it with the tea bag still in there just to make sure it's still seeping as I drink it. My husband's been doing the pressure points on the feet. I've been bouncing on the yoga ball or the exercise ball. I've been trying to do everything I can. I walk. I've been doing kind of squats when I come up and down stairs, but nothing is really helping, and my last appointment was really discouraging, and I was very upset afterwards because I was hoping there would be some sort of progress to show that my body is headed to the right direction and that a C-section would be less likely. So I'm gonna have another checkup this Thursday, and I'm hoping that I have progressed further to where I will feel comfortable knowing that I'm going in the right direction and the Pitocin might actually help me. They also said that they will try the membrane sweep once I am a full 2 centimeters. She said she's not comfortable unless I'm actually at least 2 centimeters dilated. And since at the last appointment I was only 1 centimeter still, they couldn't do it. So if this next appointment on Thursday, I'm 2 centimeter dilated, they will try the membrane sweep, and they're hoping that that would kind of trigger it too. They told me to do the basic. I also have been doing other things that are listed. The only ones I don't want to do is like castor oil, which I'm worried about hurting the baby. I know it doesn't go to the baby or pass through the placenta, but I also know that it could bring on strong contractions and cause stress for the baby because it comes on too intense, and at that point the baby could pass meconium, and I don't really want to risk that. I also have been trying nipple stimulation. I did that for about 2 days, but I didn't get any contractions while doing it or soon after, so I just assumed it's not working. I hate to just give up that quickly. I'm not giving up. I just feel like a little bit of push will take the body to, like, it will go in the right direction if I'm ready. I'll keep you guys posted about Thursday and let you know if she did the membrane sweep and if it works. They do say that if it's gonna work, it will work within the first 72 hours. So I am scheduled on Monday, so if it doesn't work, then Monday I'll just go in and get the induction. If it even just progresses me a little bit, it's still better than nothing. I don't mind at this point if I don't go into natural labor entirely by Monday. I'm just hoping that I could progress enough that an induction will work and we won't have to do a C-section. The reason I don't want a C-section is because I have limited help. I'm gonna have my husband home for about a week and my mom here for a week after that. And I have stairs at home and I have a little child. I have a 20-month-old, and going in and out with them up and down the stairs, taking the kids to school, picking them up is going to be a lot of physical work for me 2 weeks after C-section, and I really worry about the damage I might cause myself because I did not have enough time to recover from a C-section. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of having any more help here other than the 2 weeks that my mom and my husband will be here. So therefore, that is the reason why I'm trying to avoid a C-section as much as possible. We've come up with a few baby names, and I haven't decided which one yet. I'm kind of leaning towards one more than the others, but my husband is the one that's a little bit iffy about it. So we're gonna take some time to think about it. I'm not sure. I'm hoping to decide before the baby's here and do a name reveal. So it will either be right before the baby's born or right after, like in the hospital or something. I'll do a name reveal for her. As far as the things for the babies go, everything is ready. I've already washed all her clothes. They're all hung in the closet. I have clothes ready for her up until 3 months. I have 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months ready in a Tupperware in the closet where I will keep it until it's ready to be washed and hung, and when I remove the other ones from the closet. We haven't bought her a crib yet. I did buy her bassinet where she's gonna stay for at least 3 months in my room with me, but I will buy the crib within that 3 months, in the next 3 months after she's born. But because it's not urgent, she's not going to use it right away, I haven't really made that a priority. Her car seat's ready, it's washed and ready to go. I'm using the same car seat I did with my last 3 boys. It's a fairly new car seat. The first child I bought it for was my 5-year-old son, so it's only about 5 years old. We bought a new car. It's a big Ford Transit 12 passenger, so we could all fit in there. We had the Suburban. I did address this in the last video, I remember. We had the Suburban, which is only an 8 passenger car, and now we have the 12 passenger Ford Transit, and I actually love it. I was really aiming towards the Nissan Envy, but after trying for a while, it was a little bit more expensive and harder to get, and this one actually fit better for our family because the trunk has a lot more room than the Envy did. It is a very long car, but I was very comfortable from the beginning to drive it because I was used to the Suburban. This one comes with a backup camera, so it's a little easier than the Suburban. The Suburban didn't have that, but I really like it. It fits our family really well. Everyone sits in it comfortably, and now there'll be room for the baby and plenty more things, the stroller, groceries, everything else. And I love it because the trunk space is so big that once the kids get a little older and we want to take family vacations or road trips or anything like that, there's plenty of room for everybody's like luggage and everything else to go in the car with us. It's also very comfortable. I will show you guys that later on, maybe not in this video. I don't know if I'll get a chance to go out there and film it, but maybe I will make a video in the next day or 2 showing you the inside and the outside of the car. We got a really good deal on it, and I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad that we had that squared away before she was here. I was kind of scared that wasn't going to work out yet, but everything is good and it's ready to go for her. We're just ready to welcome the baby and add the new addition to our family. We're really excited to meet her. I will show you my belly shot now, and I hope I covered everything. I tried to remember everything I can. So if you guys have any questions, please leave it down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!